Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Friday, November 22nd, and we are heading into the Thanksgiving week next week. So as we start off the day here, the Friday before, so a week from now, we'll have Black Friday. We have the Dow up slightly, but only 9 points, and the S&P 500 and NASDAQ down slightly, 5 and 41 points respectively. So we've got a bit of a kind of, I'm going to say, cooling off. There's not a lot of news going on right now to move markets. I think there's probably certainly some discussion around who President-elect Trump is putting into different positions as those folks go through the vetting process. We've got the International Criminal Court, the ICC, sending out, I'm not sure if they're called warrants, but basically I think they're warrants for the arrest of the president of Israel for the attacks on Gaza and Lebanon. A lot of just, I don't know, call it bureaucratic nonsense going on right now. But in terms of actual data that will move markets, we haven't had a lot of that. We've waited until end of day Wednesday for NVIDIA to report. The results were good, but now it's just really news headlines that are triggering movements in the market themselves and speculation. And that's something that you need to be a little concerned about, because when speculation drives something up, it can be a good time to sell it because speculation doesn't always turn into reality. On the other hand, when speculation drives something down, I'll give you an example of one of those right now, it could be an opportunity to buy, especially if that goes away. And what I'm referring to there is Google. Yesterday it was announced that the Department of Justice in the United States is looking for Google to divest its Chrome browser, which it makes a ton of money from and obviously collects a significant amount of data from users, and can use that to populate its internal Gemini, or external now Gemini AI platform. So it's a huge part of Google, and like they did with Microsoft in the past, or tried to do with Microsoft through an antitrust case, they're trying to get Google to divest and become a smaller company from the behemoth that it's grown into. I think with the incoming Trump administration, that will all fade away and be dismissed, but that remains to be seen. Anyway, Google sold off huge yesterday, and I think today and yesterday and today are great buying opportunities because of that. And so that's the sentiment there. Crude oil is down today, only slightly, 36 cents, but it's 69.74, so it's below $70 a barrel. If it does turn and get up above $70 a barrel, I think we're going to end on a pretty positive or upbeat week for oil overall, especially based on the last few months where oil's been heading down. But it seems like it's on its way back up, albeit slowly, and oddly enough, in fairly volatile moves of up to $2 a day in swings, which is, I mean, it's more than 2%. So it's a pretty big swing for futures out to December 24th. We've got the VIX, which has dropped a little bit this morning, so that's good news. I mean, still close to 17, so it's a couple points above where we really want to see it, down in the 14, 15 range, but still under 20, so still in a reasonable state or position down there. If we scroll down through our list, you can see that Costco had an incredible day, part of our health and retail list yesterday, up $27. So this is a company that is going to be reporting coming up in December on the 12th. And actually, if we go back there and just take a look, the price earnings 57 times, pretty steep for a retailer, in my opinion, but also a pretty stable retailer. And we've seen some significant support and resilience in the U.S. consumer over the course of the last few years. And that's really what's held the economy up and allowed it to continue moving forward. So that said, they're obviously shopping at Costco, and Costco's moving up because of that. Lululemon caught a nice little uplift, so it's now up to $3.15. Again, it looks like it's pulling back some this morning, but I think Lulu could be an interesting acquisition going into earnings. They are going to be announcing in almost 2 weeks, 13 days. So be interesting interesting to watch what they come out with a week after the U.S. Thanksgiving and what their sales have been. I'm still kind of on the fence there. I'm not a huge Lulu shopper myself, although I love their stuff. But I know that a lot of people love it, and it may be catching up. I think it's definitely done a good job at cost reduction and trimming costs. We'll have to see whether revenue was there to support an increase in earnings per share. Walmart has been doing well recently, although, I mean, this is another area just across the board, less with Costco, I think, but to some extent. Walmart, Dollar General, Lululemon, any company that's sourcing from China, I would have a little bit of a red flag and risk sentiment around the potential ramifications of tariffs. So that Home Depot would be another, Nike could be another. Anyone who's producing their goods in China could get hit with a tariff that would spike the prices of those goods when they come back to North America. So that could be something to be concerned about. ATD, Couche-Tard out of Quebec, I think this company right now is attractively priced in the 70s, in the high 70s. I think what we're going to see is they're not going to pursue that 7-Eleven acquisition that they attempted earlier this year. They pulled out of that. So that probably will cause that stock to start getting back up into the low and then mid 80s. We've got CNR. CNR's caught a bit of a wind upwards here recently. We were mentioning a couple days ago that CNR would be a great little acquisition to the portfolio in the 148, 149 range. It's now jumped $3. So that's 1.5% basically in just a couple of days. And then we get down into oil. And if we look at oil, it's a mix of red and green, but everything's kind of near the zero mark in terms of dollars and cents. Valero being one of the standouts, up 132 pre-market, but it's still early. We're an hour and 15 minutes away from the open. I think we're going to see a green day for oil. I think oil crude prices here, for January 25th, not December now, crude futures, I think they'll cross back above where they closed. So if we take a look, I think they could get back up into the 70s, but that's just a guess. It's not based on any factual data. I think that will turn, though, and it will come up to 70. And if it does, we should have a green day on the screen for most of our oil stocks. The other one to mention in here is Marathon Oil. Marathon Oil is being taken out of the S&P 500 next week and being replaced by, I think it's Texas Land Corp, but I could be wrong on that. But another company is replacing it. That being pulled out usually leads to a drop in the stock. So that's something to just be aware of if you are looking to get into Marathon. It may pull back a little bit. We go down to tech. NVIDIA was okay yesterday. It didn't really do anything exciting. It was a little offsetting, honestly, and disappointing. It was like coming home with a report card with an A and having your parents say, why wasn't it an A+? I mean, the earnings, the revenue were phenomenal, good future forecast, and yet no one really got excited about it. So it's like having a birthday and nobody shows up at your party. Micron was up. It had a good day. I mean, it should be back in the 120s right now, maybe 130s, and it's only at 102. So I think it's still a bargain where it is. CrowdStrike had a good day and is up in the pre-market. Palantir's pulled back a little. I think it's overpriced in the 60s right now, so I'm staying away from Palantir. CRM's coming up to earnings in the next couple of weeks, and I do think that they're going to have some great earnings. They've been on a bit of a tear. They were, within the last month, they were down in the 280s. They're now at the 335 range. I think they're going to get up into the 340s, maybe even 350s by their earnings report, which is coming out in 11 days. So we'll have to wait and see what they have to say. Palo Alto got hit after earnings, but it seems to be slowly climbing back here. If we take a look at the 5-day on Palo Alto, that's the 6-month. We'll look at the the 5-day here, and you can see that it dropped down into the 385 range. Now it's back. It got back into the 401s. It's just under 400 right now. So it's definitely recovered from that earnings announcement. Net has been doing well. So this is a company that was up. I mean, look at that. It's almost up 8% yesterday, and it looks like it's going to start the day in the positive today as well. Then we've got Microsoft. Microsoft down in the 412s, to me, is super attractive. I mean, they've got a great AI story, very solid business, generating a ton of cash, super stable, but still growing. Their cloud business is growing, and they're going to benefit from the AI boom with their investment into the NVIDIA chips and the Blackwell chips that they're rolling out in their Azure data centers. This should be a $450 stock by January, when maybe February when earnings come out again. So I'm super bullish on Microsoft at that price point. Scrolling down further, we've got Lam Research having a good day yesterday. We have Tesla pulling back a little. I had a horrific Tesla experience this week trying to pick up my Cybertruck. I'm going to record a separate video on that. I'm staying away from Tesla just because I think that they don't appreciate the customers that come in to buy their expensive cars. And there is just a complete lack of customer service from my experience, as well as a lot of problems with the cars. Based on some of the people that I was talking to in the, can't call it a dealership, but more the destination where you pick up your vehicle. So the Tesla office or building, distribution center, where your vehicle arrives for pickup and inspection. Meta, to me, is a steal at this price point. I've been buying Meta over the last week or so, expecting that to get back up into the 600s. And then finally down to NVIDIA at 146. Not a lot of news and excitement here, so I would actually expect it to kind of either hover in this range or pull back a little, and I'd wait for a pullback to buy into NVIDIA. Google, having dropped yesterday with the Dow Jones, no, it's not Dow Jones, Department of Justice, DOJ announcement. Looks like it's pulling back a little bit today, but this is a stock that will be a $215 stock by March of next year, in my opinion. That's what I'm pricing it out as, and it's super undervalued. So I am a buyer on a dip of news like that, especially as soon as Trump gets in January. If this stuff changes with a change in leadership at the Department of Justice, and this case goes away, this stock is going to skyrocket and it will just go on a tear. And that's what I'm holding on for. TSM, down at 191. I've been buying this in the 180s. Nice to see it come back up into the 190s yesterday. Looks like it's going to get to the mid 190s. I expect this stock to be a $215 stock within the next couple of weeks. So I'm holding on to that as well. And then we get into financials. SoFi broke through the $15 level. Amazing. This stock is just, well, it's now more than doubled, almost, it's up significantly from $5. It's almost tripled. It hasn't quite got there yet, but it's almost tripled in the last 6 months. And then the big boys all had a good recovery yesterday. Goldman being fantastic, up $14. We were recommending that yesterday in the 580s. Hope you got into that. Hope you've been enjoying these videos. And if you are, please hit the like and subscribe button. Tell someone who's interested in understanding what's going on in the market narratives, and stocks to watch and follow for the right time to buy in, and then sell and take your profits. That's what we're about here, is putting your money that you have and you've worked hard to earn back to work for you so that it can earn money when you're sleeping and not working. Good luck with your trades, and we'll talk to you again soon.